When I was younger, I studied Aristotle and Plato. One of my favorite paintings was The School of Athens by Raphael. It depicted all the great minds of ancient Greece: Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Pythagoras, and many others. Plato was Aristotle's mentor, and although Aristotle deeply respected him, he eventually diverged from Plato's worldview in a meaningful way. Plato believed that the root of all things was not material. Instead, true existence resided in an ideal, immaterial realm, a plane of pure forms or archetypes. For example, there exists a perfect triangle, not in the physical world, but in this higher mental plane. Concepts like justice, beauty, or truth also exist there in their purest form. What we experience in reality are simply imperfect reflections of those eternal templates. In this view, the visible world is secondary, a shadow of a higher truth. This concept of a layered reality closely mirrors ancient Egyptian teachings, where existence unfolds through multiple levels, from the physical body, khat, to vital energy, ka, emotional soul, ba, the intellect or higher mind, ach, and finally the immortal spirit, sahu or sechem. Similarly, in Vedāntic philosophy, the self is composed of koshas or sheets, beginning with the physical body and progressing through layers of energy, pranamaya, emotion and thought, monomaya, higher knowledge, vijnanamaya, and bliss, anandamaya. Rosicrucian teachings echo this too, with the physical body surrounded by subtle energy bodies, etheric, astral, mental, and spiritual. Plato's ideal realm aligns harmoniously with these traditions. His forms correspond to the mental and spiritual planes, those subtle dimensions that shape material reality from above. In all these systems, matter is not the source, but the byproduct of a deeper, more essential reality. After Plato's death, Aristotle took a different path. He grounded his philosophy in the material world, arguing that true knowledge comes from observation, logic, and direct experience. Rather than looking inward for truth, Aristotle looked outward. This contrast is famously captured in Raphael's painting The School of Athens, where Plato is shown pointing toward the heavens and Aristotle gestures horizontally toward the earth. This divergence marks more than a philosophical disagreement. It reflects a civilizational shift. Plato's worldview, much like ancient Egyptian and Eastern traditions, embraced a right-brain, symbolic, intuitive understanding of reality, one that acknowledged resonance with higher planes. Aristotle's approach paved the way for extremely left-brained, analytical, reductionist thought, the foundation of modern science. Although many textbooks treat Galileo and Newton as the fathers of modern science, their methods trace a direct lineage to Aristotle's realism. By insisting that truth be sought in the concrete world, measured, categorized, and explained through causes, Aristotle created the decisive fork, or Western consciousness shift, from a balanced engagement of right-brain intuition and left-brain analysis to a predominantly left-brain systematic investigation of nature. In his own day, he was already doing what we now call science, collecting field data on marine life, dissecting animals to compare organs, classifying hundreds of plants, and composing treatises on physics, meteorology, and astronomy. That empirical drive, crystallized in works like History of Animals and Physics, became the quiet foundation on which Galileo's experiments and Newton's laws would later rise. While Aristotle's legacy and the multitude of scientific advancements that followed him gave us tremendous tools for exploring the material world, it often came at the cost of neglecting the invisible structures behind it. In rediscovering Plato's insights and those of ancient traditions that share his vision, we begin to reconnect with the fullness of reality, not just what can be seen and measured, but what can be intuited, harmonized with, and used to elevate our being. And within the past century, breakthroughs such as relativity and quantum mechanics have led science back toward a more open interpretation of reality, one that hints at an underlying fabric of interconnectedness, non-locality, and subtle energy. Wave-particle duality, entanglement, and the observer effect challenge the old mechanistic worldview, suggesting that consciousness and cosmos are woven together. Modern physics thus reopens the door for us to engage both hemispheres of the mind, pairing rigorous reason with intuition, meditation, alchemical exploration, and the qualitative study of energy. In doing so, we restore the dialogue between logic and mystery that ancient wisdom long held in balance, allowing each to complement and enrich the other. This is the path to true wisdom. If this exploration sparked a new way of seeing the world, drop a like, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next dive, and visit amannas.com for deeper journeys into wisdom and energy healing.